Alright guys, let's go over this. So, a little bit of my background. The last 18 years I've been wrenching. I've wrenched on just about everything. And right now we run a tour rental business where we've got, a bunch of X3s with over 1,000 hours and 25,000 miles on them. So they've been an awesome car for us. I've worked on a ton of Polarises, Hondas, Yamahas, Kawasaki's, you name it, I've probably turned a wrench on it. I've got a pretty in-depth career as far as, being in this industry. So I feel like I got a pretty good handle on what's going on with this new Maverick R, and I wanted to kind of go over some of the pros and the cons that I can see with it, and then go over the comparison. Can-Am put out a sheet here where they're going directly after Polaris is jugular with the new Pro R. But let's look at this thing. So the knuckle suspension here, I think it's the way it looks. I mean, obviously it's throwing people off. It's never been done before. This is some tech and stuff that has been around a long time. BMW's kind of been messing with it and stuff. And if it does what they say it's going to do, I'm super excited because I'm getting tired of replacing wheel bearings and ball joints and stuff like that. Not that I'm doing it all the time, but it would just be nice with my business to not have to do that. I mean, anything I can do to keep my cars in good shape, I do, but it's money out of my pocket and time out of my, out of my day with my family. So that's pretty awesome. I do like the 6-lug wheel. I was surprised to see that they jumped just from 4 to 6. They didn't do 5, so that means something. And then the calipers and brakes, now they've got 3 pistons up front, 2 in the back. And with this size of wheel, this is a 15 on one of their cars and then a 16 on the other. They're going to fit a bigger disc in there and a bigger caliper in there, so that's pretty awesome for braking purposes. Let's talk a little bit more about these free flow or free form wheels. Lighter than cast wheels and stronger, but not quite what you could get with billet. But still a really nice wheel and everything. And I think the reason they're offering a 16 on some of the cars and a 15 on the others is because they're trying to keep the good feel. They don't want this distance from the edge of the rim to the rubber to be too much. Otherwise, you get a lot of tire flex in there, and that can cause handling issues. So they're really focusing on this thing handling really, really well, which, in the short course world, the Yamaha YXZ has pretty much dominated that. In order to make an X3 compete in that world, they take and cut the shocks all down, lower the X3s to the ground, and that's how they get them to compete in the short course world. So I don't know if this car being 77 inches wide is going to be an apples to apples for the short course stuff. I'm not on the up and up on what they require there, but I would imagine that's kind of what they're going after there is the whole market. And I can't wait to see what this thing's going to do with the hammers. King of the Hammers, this thing's probably going to be a dominator because I know a lot of people have had belt issues and just overheating issues and stuff, and it's just super hard on the cars and the equipment to go run that. But let's go to the comparison. So this is what Can-Am has on their website. I didn't make this or anything, but they're going directly for the throat of Polaris here. They've got the Polaris Pro R specs listed right here, and then they've got their specs of the Maverick RX listed here. And they're kind of checking the boxes here of what's better in their opinion than what is on the Polaris. And I don't know if I agree with every box they've got checked here, but let's kind of start from the top. So 240 horsepower, it's still a 999cc, and then dual clutch transmission engine. So I would agree with them. That box should be checked. I mean, 225, and this is a 4-cylinder 2-liter, so a lot more weight going on here for Polaris, and they're getting more power out of less weight for this. And they're still adding the 7-speed transmission to that. Power to weight ratio, a little better, 10.8 to 10.5. The dual clutch transmission with on the fly, I guess you can go on the fly is my understanding from high to low range and everything, so that's pretty cool. The CVT technology obviously has come leaps and bounds since side-by-sides is have been doing this, but my opinion, my YXZ that I used to have, I really wish my X3 had that transmission. So if they're coupling that together, that's a win in my book. Lockable front differential with smart lock, that's pretty, much what they've got on the X3 now. It's coming with the Trail Active 4-wheel drive trail. And then the Performance True 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive lock. I would say that's pretty much the same thing. I mean, that trail mode maybe is a little different. It's got a little slip to it and stuff. Maybe a slight advantage if you're doing tight stuff in 4-wheel drive to Can-Am. Power steering, I'll be honest with you, yet to be seen. I'm just going to leave that box checked for both of them. The heavy-duty tall knuckle double A-arm, 25-inch travel in the front, 26 in the back. That's pretty hard to beat, to be honest with you. So I'm going to give that to Can-Am. It's yet to be seen. It's some new technology I think that they've kind of been working with maybe BMW or some of the European manufacturers on, but I like the idea of not having to do ball joints as much. Not that I'm doing them all the time, but as much, and wheel bearings as much. I've got a few cars with over 1,000 hours or 2,500 miles on them, 25,000 miles, sorry, on them, and they've been through a few of those in their day, that's for sure. Shocks and everything, Walker Evans, Fox, you know what? I don't know. Let's check that box for both of them. 15-inch wheels come on both of them. These are flow forms, so they're supposed to be more lightweight and stronger as opposed to cast aluminum wheels. So I guess, maybe that box should be checked, but they're leaving it open there. Maybe because this comes with 32s and this only comes with 30s. And then ground clearance, 17 inches with 30s and 16 inches with 32s. So put 32s on this car and you're going to have 18 inches of ground clearance, and supposedly this car will fit 35s even with this knuckle style suspension over the tire. So that's pretty awesome. I couldn't see a need for me to run anything bigger than 35s, and honestly I'm running 31s on my X3s, and I just keep the proper ride height in there with 18 degrees of axle angle, and we get over everything in our 4-seaters without scrubbing just fine. So I don't want to, you to seem like, oh, that's a huge deal. Wheelbase, obviously, yeah, it's longer. They check that box. Protection, standard roof, half doors, front lower deflector, front and rear anchor, full plastic skid. Cool, whatever. High strength dual phase steel tubing and stamping. So this is something that they're ranting and raving about because it increases the rigidity of the chassis, so it's not going to flex around, and that's going to give you better driver feedback and just, that ability to really feel what the car's doing. Ergo lock cockpit, 4-way adjustable seats, and lower seating position. We'll see. The display is bigger, so yeah, they check that box, but it's going to be hard to beat this ride command that Polaris has been dominating with. Be honest with you, Can-Am could definitely step it up in this aspect, but I'm excited to see that they're actually putting some R&D into their BRP Go app, and we'll see what that kind of brings out in the next couple years, because right now I'm using Gaia on all my stuff, and I don't like it. Because my tablets have a little bit of sheen on the screen in the sunlight. You can still see it just fine, but something that's built in this industry for this, you're not going to have that sheen on the screen that you're going to see, that reflective sheen, and it's just going to be brighter and just designed to be in the elements. Premium high performance LED headlights with unique Can-Am LED signature. I think that their lighting system, the way that it brightens and their lights on their mirrors brighten when you go into a corner, is pretty cool. Honestly, if you're going to put lights on anything, they should just be at their brightest setting on a switch for me, but I think that's cool technology. We'll see where it goes. The anti-theft, DES, and pass, take it or leave it. I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both of those. But let's talk about one thing that I think is an obvious win, and that is, I'm going to go to Wall and Speed's website right here. So my X3s right now have a 36mm compressor wheel in them. from the factory. Wallen Speed can mill those to a 42 millimeter, and they make anywhere from about 50 to 100 more horsepower depending on what fuel you're running. Well, this comes out of the box with a 54 millimeter monster turbo in it and an anti-lag system to keep it spooled. So it keeps the it controls that anti-lag, I guess, through opening the throttle body and basically changing the ignition timing and the fuel injector timing to keep the turbo spooled in its sport mode. So you guys got to know, if this thing's making 240 horsepower out of the box with all the emissions crap on it that it has to have to meet California emissions and decibel ratings, once that system is uncorked, this turbo and this package is going to be easily making 300 horsepower and probably capable of 400 plus for some of the guys out there, and it directly bolts to the block. So there is going to be some restrictions, I bet, but you bet people in the turbo industry are going to make bigger, better stuff, try and improve on it, bore stuff out, different compressor wheels, that kind of stuff, to even increase that more for the guys that are running the dunes and dragging these things. But that's pretty dang impressive to see 240 horsepower out of the box, meet emissions and everything. So that's exciting. I think this thing's just going to be an animal when some of these tuners get involved with this car. But that's my take on it. I think it's a little funky looking, kind of futuristic looking and everything, but it's pushing the limits of what's been done before. And this is kind of the Thomas Edison thing when he was doing the light bulb. Everyone was making fun of him, and then when he got the light bulb going, everybody wanted one. So I think this is going to be the car that's going to pave the way. It's going to get bashed a lot. People are going to make fun of it a couple times up on the box at the podiums and everything, and that's all going to be a distant bad memory for people that are going to be making fun of this thing. So I'm going to get one of these bad boys, try and get it ordered. September 17th is when the dealers got them dropping. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts and everything on them. I'm excited to see this thing come out. Go see one in person. The fit and finish looks awesome. The way the seats adjust, the ergos, how the wheel tilts and telescoping wheel and stuff. I mean, it's just pretty incredible to see all the tech involved with this car and how all the accessories kind of work with the tech. So you guys let me know your thoughts. All right, happy Tuesday.